Hey, this is the guy I mentioned in the last video who described himself as a super fascist and asked, is he on my tree? And if so, is he related? Those who are not into philosophy, this guy is Julius Evola, who was born Julio Cesar Andrea Evola. Yeah, I don't want to get into all the political stuff. It's contentious. So there are some that say he had nothing to do with right-wing fascist philosophy, and then there are those who, or even are far-right individuals like Steve Bannon who claim him as a big influence. That's not what my purpose is here today. Just a little bit of information about him, that he is regarded as a far-right philosopher. That's what he did. He wrote about philosophy. It's claimed that he's an eccentric thinker in fascist Italy and also had ties to Nazi Germany. And even in his autobiography, he talks about that and having fled to Nazi Germany during the war. But he was born in Rome. But he adopted the name Julius instead of Julio, and that was more, and that, from what he said, it tied more to Rome because he's not actually Italian. I know, so this kind of reminds me of that scene from Only the Lonely.
She's Italian.
A Guinea?
Oh, Ma.
Oh, at least tell me she's not a Sicilian, please.
She is Sicilian, Ma.
Black Death.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
How many times have I told you to keep away from those Sicilians? They'll cut your stomach out if they think you've swallowed a penny.
I gotta get out of here.
The name actually caught my attention. I was just scrolling a couple weeks ago. Evola, I'd never heard of this monocled gentleman here, but the name caught my attention. Evola. I have a lot of familia that's Evola. It's a Sicilian name, not something that you associate with Rome. And therein lies what really got my attention. There are claims that he advocated for fascist Italy's racial laws. And there's a lot in here that is very hotly contested, so I'm not going to get into that. But what I'm interested in here for this video is it talks about he's the second son of Vincenzo Evola and Concetta Mangiapane. Now, Mangiapane, that is not an Italian name. It's an Italian word. It's a Sicilian name. Now, you remember, I've been going through on the channel, I've done an awful lot with Genesi. When I hear Mangiapane, that definitely gets my attention. And I'm thinking Genesi or Terracini. And it comes down here. And so this is, again, I thought I was onto something, and it turns out it was true. Both his parents were born in Genesi, a small town in the province of Palermo on the northwestern coast of Sicily, and were married there on 25 November 1892. His maternal grandparents, so this is where he gets the Caesar from, Caesar Mangiapane. Now that's important, so I'm not going to spoil it just here. That's a very important name there. It does say here he is sometimes described as a baron, probably in reference to a purported distant relationship with a minor aristocratic family, the Evoli, who were barons in the Kingdom of Sicily. I can't bear that out. And so what caught my attention here too is it says Evola considered details about his early life irrelevant and is noted for hiding some details of his personal life. Now, I have got a lot of information on his familia. I'll get to that, but this is a cool picture as when he was in the army. He was in World War I. Now, I can't say why he didn't want to discuss his personal life or, his upbringing. He had a thing for Rome and maybe, Sicily. He looked down his nose. I don't know. I have no idea. But what's really cool is I actually have him discussing this very point in a video that I was able to find from 1971.
Julius Evola, voulez-vous nous parler de vos origines, de vos années de jeunesse et de votre formation spirituelle?
Mes origines, je suis né à Rome. Pour ce qui concerne le côté purement biographique, je ne l'exprime pas. d'intérêt.
So whatever his issues were there could just be in for privacy. I don't know. I'm not, I can only speculate. I don't know. But I do have the goods on his family, and I have it going back pretty far. And other than him being born in Rome, my research doesn't bear out anything but Sicily. The first question is he on my tree? Well, when you got a name like Cusimano, Evola, Mangiapane, that's a no-brainer. And it's Genesee. So I got an awful lot of familia from Genesee because Carini and Genesee are right next to each other in the western part of Palermo. So the answer is yes. He is on my tree, and it was fairly easy to get him on my tree. Because a name like Caesar Mangiapane really caught my eye. Because we have a Randazzo here. So I actually had the line going back in Genesee, the Evola line. I have that going back, not as far as I would like, but the early 1700s. So if there is a connection to to a baron, if it's through that line, I have not been able to find it. Now, this didn't take as much work as before, but it did take a lot of work. These videos took an awful lot more time. And I just want to point out, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can go into the store. See, and I think this is one that Julius Evola would have appreciated. Genealogy, because you shouldn't have to talk to family. That kind of goes right in line with how he considered details about his early life irrelevant and is noted for hiding details of his personal life. So you can get shirts there. You can also support the show in the description because there is a Patreon. So let's get into this. Now, these other lines I was able to get way, way further back. So the direct Mangiapane line, because I already had it, this I already had on my tree. I have back to 1678 for the Mangiapane line. For the Randazzo line, I have back to early 1700s also. There was something else really cool with the Mangiapane line. So if we go here and we see Antonino Mangiapane and Giuseppe Randazzo, mia familia is Randazzo, we see he has a brother, Matteo Manzella. Very interesting here. So let's see who this brings us to. Giuseppe Manzella. This brings us down. Look at that right there. That is the gangster Caesar Manzella that I did the video on right here. Found another infamous mafia gangster on the family tree. That's Caesar Manzella. So it got me. See, I saw that he was here on the tree. So one thing about it, because Julio Evola working with fascist Italy, one of the things Benito Mussolini did was crack down real hard on Sicilian gangsters, which is probably the reason why Caesar Manzella went and joined his brother in the United States and then returned after the war. But it just got me thinking here. It made me a little crazy. I gotta find. Look, he's called. I don't know why he's called that. Turns out now this is. I can't say this for sure. I know that Julio is named Caesar because his nono is Caesar Mangiapane, and I'm pretty certain Caesar Manzella is called that. So now I can't prove this, but I think they have the same namesake. It's easier to show that Julio was named for his nono. Not as easy, but it looks because he is closely related to the Manzella line because his aunt is Giuseppe Mangiapane. So I think they're named for the same guy. I think the Caesar Mangiapane is the namesake for both of these guys, which turn out, I think it's, again, I'm not absolutely certain. I can't prove that, but it is pretty dang close. And another interesting thing, if we follow the paternal line back here to the Cusimano, you can see Faro Abate and Vincenzo Agrusa. And then we have Vincenzo Jacopelli and Caterina Abate. So let's open this up and we'll see where this takes us. Lorenzo Randazzo and Rosaria Bomarito. We take this down. All right. It's the Salvador from the previous video and also the Genesee St. Louis videos. It's that same Salvador Randazzo, born in Genesee in 1889. So this Julio or Julius Evola is related, and I'm not going to go through all that, but he is related and connected to all those people that I showed in the previous videos, these videos here. He's related to all of them, even to this, the Gaetano Badalamenti. Some closer than others, but some fairly close. He's actually a second cousin to Caesar Manzella, so that one is pretty close. So to wrap this up, let me just show that I do have the documents for all of this. I do have, if we go on Antonati, which is a great resource for family history, Italian and Sicilian. So I'll go to the, so I do have his baptism record. And this baptism record is for Rome, not born in Sicilia. So that's it right there. His parents, and his parents are listed there. And I do have his parents' marriage record here. So now I'm not going to go through all the work I did, and I'm not going to show all of the records that I do have, but I do have the most of the baptism records for his family here, but I do have all of the marriage records, which is how I was able to go so far back. So if you're interested in how I did that, the previous video, the one that I just did, this one, how I added over 1,000 to my family tree using Ancestry.com and Family Search, I go into a lot more detail there. That's not the purpose for this video here. I do want to learn more about Julius Evola. Sounds like a pretty interesting guy. And I'll link in the description, there is over an hour-long video that he did in 1971. It does have subtitles because it's in French. And my French is actually worse than my Italian. So, but I'll have it linked in the description if you're interested in learning more about this polarizing Sicilian, though Roman-born philosopher, Julius Evola. And I can't end the video without letting everybody know, is he related to me? Because he is on my tree. He does go back to Carini, but that doesn't mean he's related to me. So let's take a look here. I'll open up the profile. Grand nephew of husband of aunt of husband of sixth cousin. So, no. But it does give me the opportunity to queue up Spaceballs.
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
So no, the grandnephew of the husband of aunt of husband of sixth cousin, we're not related, but it is pretty cool. He is on my tree, and he is very closely related to some other people that are on my tree, and very closely related to the infamous gangster killed in the car bombing, Caesar Manzella.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.